Something to scream about.
Like, I think I got into music when I was like, I don't know, 10. That's when I started playing guitar. I never thought it would be like a career or anything. It was just like I wanted to learn how to play an instrument. And my mom was like, okay, you can play guitar. And I was like, I want to play trumpet. And she's like, girls don't like trumpets. You can play guitar. So learn how to play guitar. Just, I think when I was like 16, I started like recording my own stuff, and it was terrible because the technology in 2006 was like nowhere near where it is now. Like I had like one of those physical like 30-pound 8-tracks. Like you couldn't just go on your computer. So I didn't have it, like it sounded like garbage, and I still wasn't like, I didn't ever think I was going to be like, you know, who I am today. So yeah, I like went to college for graphic design, and I had like a band on the side, and like I was still super into the band, but I was like, I want to just make music. Like I just love music, and I want to participate in that. And like, you know, it's like if you're like an illustrator, like you might not want to be a professional artist. You just want to draw stuff and make it look awesome. So it was like that with music. And I think it was around 2013, I started my first YouTube channel, and I was just doing covers and uploading originals, and it popped off. I won a couple of like Jared Dines' like vocal contests and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I ended up getting super depressed and deleting that channel around like 50,000 subscribers. It was called Amneon.
Yeah.
And it like, it was just really hard. I was like 24 at the time, and it's like people are ruthless on the internet when it comes to criticism and feedback.
Yeah.
I just couldn't handle it back then. So I deleted it and then like started over under a new name to like kind of like clean slate it. And that was when I really started like taking it seriously and doing it more as a career than like just like, hey, check out what I can do. Like I started really focusing on how can I market this so that more people listen to it and not just covers. Like what can I do to draw attention to this project? And covers was like the easiest way because everyone loves covers. Everyone watches covers and looks them up. So I'm like, if I can find a way to stand out when I'm doing covers, people will look at me instead of someone else's covers. Started bringing people in, directed them over to like HungryLights, and then that started growing. And I was like, I need more. People always ask me what vocal techniques I'm doing. So I made a scream tutorial, and it got like 3 million views or something. Yeah. And it was like, I kind of realized, okay, between covers and originals and teaching people vocals, I could like make an actual career out of this. So I started doing that for several years before Tallah finally reached out and was like, hey, want to be our vocalist? And I was like, yeah, I want to be your vocalist.
Instrumentals are great. Really great.
It's a lot of fun. I'll definitely let Max know because he writes all the instrumentals for Tallah. Yeah. But Tallah, I'd say we really don't make that much money yet. And it's just because we're still such a small band. Like we're not on like a massive label. We've got some, you know, monthly listeners, but we are on a label. So that has to go back to like, you know, the money the label gives us to make a record or whatever. So it's like you make more money as a solo artist because all the stuff I do, it all goes to me. Patreon, it all goes to me. Vocal lessons, it all goes to me. And rather than having like what's that quote? Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket or something like that. Rather than just having this one thing that you're trying to do to make money off, you just have a bunch of little things and they all kind of get sort of like bigger instead of one huge thing getting bigger. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't have to get a job now because all these little things are trickling in, and I'm like, wow, I can pay my rent now. This is awesome.
Yeah. I've seen, essentially, I've talked about it as being like lots of rivers, like little rivers going into one massive lake. Instead of you trying to fish out of one little pond, you got little mini income streams coming, but accumulatively, they end up supporting you financially, which is great. And to go off what you said there as well, I can kind of see it being, you're using the band as the staple of your professionalism and a staple of what you guys can do and what your skill set is. And then you're using that as like a promotion to then diversify into other income streams, like what you said, go 100% to you, and you're not splitting it between 5 band members and then the label cuts and then reinvesting back into future projects. Every time we've made money with Distorted Views, it just goes straight back in the bank account. And then when we promo the next song, the money that we made from the last song, it just goes back in. We don't actually, I don't think we've ever paid ourselves from anything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
like
it does that for a while. Like Tallah is we just finished our second like headline tour, and we're not playing like 600 cap venues. We're playing like 300 cap venues, and sometimes we get like 300 people. Sometimes we'll get 150. Sometimes we get like 30. It really depends where we're playing. Yeah. Merch sales obviously are how you're going to make your money, but if you spend $4,000 to buy the merch you're going to sell, well, now you have to make all that back before you even break even.
So many people drop ship now.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's definitely hard. I'd say when it comes to paying ourselves in Tallah, it's from Patreon most of the time. It's from the fans supporting us there. And we're like, all right, we break even when we tour, but we got this money on Patreon that we can split between the 5 of us because it's Tallah's Patreon and the fans are giving it to us to support us. Yeah. So that's probably the best way right now, is having some sort of like support system. That way, when you are on that stage where you're just spending money to put stuff back in the band and it just keeps recycling, having that external thing that's like, well, this just goes to us now is everything.